AITA for refusing to pay for my boyfriend's food after he ruined my food photos? I have an Instagram account dedicated to photos and short videos of food from local restaurants in my city. I don't turn meals into a whole photo shoot production when I go out, but I like to snap a few photos of everything as it comes out. I've got about 1,000 followers. It's just a hobby for me. Booty have made friends with some other bloggers and we like to go out and get pics together and try new restaurants. I prefer doing this with my foodie girls because my boyfriend hates it and will go out of his way to take a big bite of food or mess up his plate with his fork before I can snap any pics, and he rolls his eyes when I take pics of my own food, so I pretty much stopped bothering when we went out together. Money has been tight lately because of some medical bills, so I haven't been able to go out to eat with my foodie girls, and the infrequent date with my boyfriend is the only chance I get to eat out. Had to sit him down and have a look, just let me enjoy things conversation with him and told him I was going to take pics of my own food when we went out and could he please just not be immature about it. And since we alternate who pays for dates, I told him I would appreciate it if he could spare the 30 seconds for me to snap a pic of the appetizer plus his meal on nights that I was paying, and I got a sort of half-hearted, do whatever you want, confirmation. Sunday was my turn to pay, and he let me take a pic of the appetizer with minimal fussing. But then when the entrees came out, I went to snap a pic of his and he messed it up with his fork. Then he reached over and stirred up my pasta to also ruin the photo of my own meal. I was so pissed off by that I refused to pay his half at the end of the meal, which pissed him off because he said he wouldn't have ordered a cocktail if he knew that I was going to skip my turn. He says I owe him one because I don't get to just decide not to pay, according to our agreement after we've already ordered. AITA for telling my mom I was upset she missed my graduation because my sister had a baby? Update. I want to thank all of you for your kind words. My sister is at home as of last night and she called me this morning after I posted and asked me to bring her some things, so I did. She surprised me with a graduation gift, because she's the sweetest soul on the planet. She said that she and my father had a conversation with my mom this morning about how she needed to apologize to me. I haven't heard from my mom, but my dad wants the three of us to go to dinner tonight. Thank you all for your support and validation. It's given me courage to talk to my mom and without feeling guilty or silly. But for now, I will be enjoying some baby cuddles while my sister showers. I'll be logging out of this account. Throwaway account. My 27F sister, 301F, just had her first baby on Sunday morning at 2:30 a.m. It was thankfully a smooth delivery and she and my nephew were happy and healthy. My mom, my dad, me, my sister's husband, and my sister's mill were all at the hospital, per my sister's request, from around midnight on Sunday and the remainder of the day. Well, my graduation from grad school was on Sunday as well at 4 p.m. At around 2 p.m., me and my parents went down to grab lunch from the cafeteria and I realized the time. I asked my parents if they wanted to just meet me at the graduation because I needed to go home and get ready first. My mom looked at me funny and said, "You can't really expect me to leave your sister and my grandbaby right now." I didn't know what to say, but my dad just told me to go get ready and they would meet me there. So I went to graduation and afterwards I looked for me family and sure enough my mom did not come. My dad did. I was upset because I won an award from me program director and gave a speech in which I thanked her specifically and she missed the whole thing. I got back to the hospital and didn't really talk to my mom because I didn't want to make a scene or stress out my sister. Last night my mom called me and I expressed to her how hurt I was, and she sighed I'm being selfish and need to realize my sister just gave birth and that's more important. Even though she is proud of me. I ended up hanging up. I guess my thought process is that at the point where it was time to leave, the baby had been born. For 12 hours and we spent most of that time with the baby, my sister when they were awake, and I'm glad we did not complaining. My plan was just to go to graduation and pick up my sister's favorite pizza, she was craving it, on the way back and eat with her. My dad and I did just that and in total me father was away from the hospital for right around 3 hours. I understand that giving birth is a huge deal and I'm so proud of my sister. I don't mean to act like my graduation was more important. I just feel like there wasn't a need to choose and my mother could have done both because my dad did. My sister had her husband and mill that would have been with her. I just had my dad and while I'm grateful he came I wish my mom would have too. My dad agrees with me that my mom should have came, and my sister apologized for stealing the spotlight, to which I told her she had absolutely nothing to be sorry for and to focus on herself and the baby and everything with me and mom would work itself out. I think my mom told my sister, which makes me more angry because she doesn't need to worry about this. ID's or issue. AITA? ETA. I wanted to address a couple things, answer some questions. My sister was totally okay with my parents leaving for a few hours, according to my dad. He told me while we were picking up the pizza that my sister told my mom it was fine and to go. I haven't talked to my sister about it because she shouldn't even be thinking about this right now. She has enough on her plate. I understand some people think graduations are stupid, or maybe even childish. If I had just been walking across the stage for a few seconds and that was it, this wouldn't really bother me. I was given an award and gave a speech in which I recognized my parents, but mainly my mom, because I am following in her footsteps and entering the same field she is in. It was special to me for her to hear me acknowledge her and to see me do that. Maybe that's still stupid to some, but T wasn't to me. Lastly, IDK about any drama between Mill and our mom. I know husband thinks my mom is nosy, and he might have relayed that to Mill and it might be athing. But Mill lives far away and so she doesn't come to gatherings or anything that often. I think the last time my mom had any meaningful interaction with her was at my sister's wedding 2 years ago. AITA for lying to my Mill about the gender of our baby after she promised to keep it a secret. I didn't really want a gender reveal party, but my husband's family made a big deal about it, so I agreed. My mother-in-law was convinced that I knew the gender and insisted I tell her. I totally didn't, and I told her that fact. She wore me down after a month of bothering me about it. She begged me and promised that she wouldn't tell anyone. This was all in texts. I told her it was a girl. I figured it was a 50-50 chance and it would get half my back. Well, she lied. When we cut the cake to reveal a blue inside, there was a really awkward silence. Shahad told literally all of the guests from her side of the family so they could bring appropriate gifts. My friends and family quickly gathered around to congratulate is on our son. She came over and hissed at me that I made her look stupid. I reminded her that she had promised not to tell anyone. She said she had never promised, so I showed her our text conversation. Some of the family were right there when I did that, so they heard her admit Thatch lied and had never intended to keep that promise. She said that it was a ick move and that I only did it to embarrass her. I again reminded her Thato had told her on multiple occasions that I did not know the gender. My husband wants me to apologize to keep the peace. I probably will, but I don't think I was an SS hole like she seems to think. AITA for telling my Sil I will disown her if she gets pregnant? Throwaway. Some details changed. Mobile so formatting, etc. I, 33F. Live with my brother, 32 meters, and his new wife, 34F. Things have been fine to a point, and I definitely appreciate them taking me in during my time of need. That is not lost on me. I recognize that they did not have to help me, and I am incredibly thankful that they have done that. But my Sil has baby fever and she is talking about trying to get pregnant. First of all, I know my brother had the snip after his divorce from his first wife. He would have to have the procedure reversed and his insurance will not cover it, and to be frank, they cannot afford that. Part of why they allowed me to move in is because they are in financial trouble and I am contributing quite a lot of money to bills right now. I cover probably 2/3 of all the bills Becca use. My Sil doesn't work and my brother pays an ungodly amount of child support to his ex-wife. The financial issues can go ahead and be another point in the situation. My Sil also can barely take care of herself. She sleeps most of the day. She does not clean, she does not cook, she doesn't take care of the child she already has. Her daughter is 6 years old and she doesn't even interact with her unless she has to. That is a totally separate issue. I have become a live-in maid and nanny on top of working 45 or more hours a week. My Sil lost custody of her other child about 2 years ago. He is 11 and living with family. I do not know why she even lost custody, but he says he was abused. She did not fight to get him back. 2 days ago, my brother told me he has an appointment to meet with his doc to discuss the reversal so Haman Sil can try for a baby. I told them they were out of their minds. It got explosive and I finally asked WHO was going to take care of a baby when my brother works full-time, I work full-time, and she constantly makes excuses to not even do basic hit around the house like take the dog outside. She really had the nerve to tell me, I thought you could handle them when you get off work before brother gets home so the load is evenly distributed. I blew up. I told her I am not going to be a parent to another one of her kids and thought if they really do this then I am totally done. They are on their own. I told my brother I would always love him and help him if he needs me, but that I would never talk to Sil and make sure the rest of the family disowns her too. I think I was probably ta for saying that the way I did. She started crying and locked herself in the bedroom. My brother is threatening to kick me out, and again I might be ta for this. I told him he can't afford to kick me out and he can't afford a replacement maid nanny like I have been. I told our mom about what happened and she not only thinks I'm ta but is now mad at my brother. Our dad however said I am ta because it isn't my place to say anything about my brother's decisions, so Reddit. AITA, ETA. I had to omit some things before publishing this post on account of the character limit. I do not know how that works with edits, but I figure I'll find out in a moment here. Point 1. I moved in over a year ago when I was down on my luck and unemployed. The conditions for me moving in was that I help around the house until I was back on my feet. Their financial situation changed, though, and they asked me to stay, which is why I have been living with them this long. What I did not expect was to get almost 100% of the workload in the home in addition to working longer hours than my brother. We have had multiple conversations about how I felt it was unfair that I do so much, and my sil said they helped me, so I am obligated to help now. Had I known this would be thrown in my face, I would have rather been homeless. Point 2. I chose to be child-free, but I love my step-niece and leaving at this point would hurt her the most. CPS has been called many times, not even by myself but their friends and my brother's ex-wife, because they feel my niece is being neglected. My ex-sil specifically said emotional abuse and neglect, and that she had witnessed forms of humiliation in the past as punishment. My niece is definitely troubled. She has a therapist. I am really limited on what I can do when the people who are supposed to help just won't. Point 3. I am still reading comments, but I will reply as I can.